and welcome to Cochise County Cooperative Extension's Farmers Market series. So this is going to be a roasted vegetable dish, and this is something we can make all fall and all winter long. It goes great as a side dish. You can also eat it as a main dish. Today we're going to use potatoes and beets and some onion. The recipe calls for adding carrots, but I'm just going to keep it really simple and use what I bought at the farmers market on Thursday. So a couple of things to start with. We have our potatoes and beets and onion. I have washed these up, and so let me show you what a potato looks like before it's been scrubbed. So these potatoes have been washed off a little bit before sale. So you can see they're pretty dirty still, as well as the beets. So that is why it's important to give them a good scrubbing. So we're going to start with our potatoes. And I'm going to put them in a bowl. So a trick with potatoes is if you put them in cold water and then kind of rinse them a couple of times, you'll remove some of the starch and they'll cook up a little quicker and a little crisper. So we're going to do that as well. It also helps get rid of any other soil that may have been on your potatoes. So I'm just giving these a good half cut. And taking off any spots that need to be removed. So as you can see, I have red potatoes and brown potatoes. And our last one. This one's got a spot and a weird spot. I'm trying to figure out how to get it. So I'm going to soak these in water and come back with these. So I'm soaking the potatoes in cold water. I rinsed them a couple times before I brought them over here. So the next thing that we're going to cut to go in is our onion. And onions also grow in the ground and can be kind of dirty. So while I'm cutting this up, I do want to mention that I am preheating the oven to 400 degrees. So it'll be ready when we're ready. All right. And this recipe calls for one medium onion. This is a really large onion, so I'm going to use a little bit less. Because I tend to like a little less onion most of the time in my dishes. I'm going to give it a good rinse. Right. And so we want to cut this into kind of bite-sized pieces. We want them big enough that they don't get too burnt, but not too small, so that they and next, the beets. So Beets are one of my favorite root vegetables. I like them all different ways. Roasted is definitely at the top of my list. So cut off the top and cut off the root end. And you can see how beautiful red it is in there. And then you can peel these, or you can leave them unpeeled. I am going to give them a peel. Beets come in different colors as well. You can get yellow beets, so those are always fun to play with. You can get some very pretty dishes with beets. As kind of something to keep in mind, when you are cutting and peeling beets, your hands will turn red. And they will get on your clothes as well. Try to peel before I cut it and see. Especially since it's kind of a funny shaped beet and kind of long like that. Yeah, much easier. So you can see how it's kind of turning everything a little bit red. That is one of my favorite parts of it. So we're going to cut these up and add them to our onion. And you can put whatever you want in this. If you have some butternut squash left over from the other week, that would be really great in here. Sweet potatoes, turnips, parsnips, so any of those type of vegetables. See, my hands are red. So I'm going to drain our potatoes and add them to our other vegetables. So, okay. So the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of olive oil, so 3 tablespoons of olive oil, you could use vegetable oil, that's what is convenient. And then it calls for a teaspoon of rosemary and then a teaspoon of thyme. So if you have fresh rosemary and fresh thyme, that's great. I would highly recommend using those. You can get those plants from the market, so it's something you can grow at home. I'm going to use a spice blend that I really like that has both rosemary and thyme in it. If you are using fresh herbs in a recipe, in a substitution for dried herbs, a lot of times you'll need to use more. Because it does take more fresh herbs to get the same flavor as dried herbs. And then it calls for 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Sprinkle that right in. And we're going to mix it up and toss, so that the olive oil and the herbs and the cheese evenly coat all of the vegetables. And like I said, my oven is preheating to 400 and it's already beeped, so it should be pretty much there. This is going to be nice and pink and beautiful. So I'm going to put it in my roasting pan. The recipe calls for a high-rimmed cookie sheet use what you have. And you can kind of see how the beets kind of turn everything a little bit of a different color. So we're going to put these in the oven and let them cook for about an hour. And then we're going to test for doneness, and we want to make sure we eat them when they're hot. You can serve these with maybe a little bit more cheese on top. If your little one really likes ketchup, a little bit of ketchup on the side, perhaps maybe like a sour cream dipping sauce would be really, really good with this. I think we'll do some sour cream and some of the chives that we got from the farmer's market. So great, we're gonna let them cook and I'll see you back when they're ready. Welcome back. Our roasted veggies are done. My house smells fantastic. And I'm going to cut up some of these chives to add to some sour cream to make a little dipping sauce. So just a quick cut on these onion and garlic chives from the farmer's market. And if you watched the live on Friday, you'll know the chives are a lot like green onions, a lot more flavor in one little bite. And we'll put that right in the bowl. And then I have some light sour cream. Use what you have. You could add a little bit of lime juice to this if you wanted to. Mix that up. I'm going to bring our potatoes over. All right, so the pan is very hot. It just came out of the oven. So I'm going to scoop everything into our bowl. Well, of course, spilling some. I have all the beets. That's my favorite part. Alright, and there we go. We have roasted potatoes, beets, and you can imagine if you put carrots in here, you'd have a nice orange color. It'd be very, very pretty. So there we are. Enjoy, and I hope to see you at the farmer's market.